بله من صدای شما رو دارم.
I can hear you.
The chairman is going to swear you in.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for attending the tribunal. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly declare that I will speak the truth.
من سوگند
I solemnly declare to speak the truth,
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Questions now from the prosecution, and then the panel may have some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Could you please tell the tribunal what brings you here today and what knowledge you have of the Aban November 2019 protests?
اجازه میخوام.
1 second. Can you, Mr. Witness, I'd just like to
Sure.
remind you to share what you feel comfortable with, that there are people in the room right now, and during our question period, we will close the room.
بسیار
Thank you very much. Well understood. When the Aban atrocity took place, nobody ever thought that a tribunal would be held after 2 years to bring to justice those responsible. It is true that you are putting the ones responsible in trial while they are not accountable, and we have to cover our faces to testify here, but I'm sure that one day they will have to cover their faces and our positions would change. I am grateful to the tribunal and the prosecution team for holding this tribunal. This tribunal has empowered us, empowered all those who have been victims and all the witnesses. We have understood that we are not alone. We can join hands and we can achieve justice one day, and we can make the officials accountable, or at least we can understand why such things happened. I, first of all, deem my own duty to thank you on behalf of the Iranian nation, and I apologize that I have to cover my face and to appear here in anonymity. I did not take part in any of the protests directly because of the nature of the job I have and also the responsibilities that I hold. I was not allowed to take part physically in any of the protests. The Islamic Republic government, after the protests, firstly stopped the flow of information, stopped the internet, stopped access to media, and also tried to limit people's contact with each other. And this was a norm in all protests in the previous years. The responsibility of me and those in my and those who were similar to me was that when the internet was cut and people did not have access to information, we were trying to find a means to see how we could gather information and to take the information out of the country physically and to hand them over to individuals who we were sure that they could broadcast the pictures, the films that we prepared, and what could really explain what really had gone on so that the world would know of what had happened. It is very difficult for me to explain all this after 2 years. It is really painful for me, and it is really difficult for me to speak. I should tell you that I was not even to sleep for a minute last night. I just remembered all the memories of the last 2 years because I was going to testify here today. During Aban 98, you still can hear me, right?
صدا قطع.
Apparently the witness cannot hear us.
بله بله.
During Aban 98, after what happened, we had the experience that internet will be cut and we will start classifying information and transferring information. We were able to take the information out of the country at 2 stages physically. But unfortunately, on 3rd of Azar 98, which is about 20 days after the incident, I may say that the information that we had gathered and the images that we had gathered, if they had reached the individuals who should have received them, this court, this tribunal, and many other public opinion and other organizations would have had a different impression and understanding of the protests of Aban. Unfortunately, the file that we put together, the one who was responsible to hand over was arrested. After he was arrested, another friend of mine was also arrested. And it is now about over 2 years, 2 months that I have not heard from them. Not only I have not heard from them, their families have not heard from them. That is to say, they are completely missing. And I had to hide for 27 days. Then I realized there was no way but to leave the country. During the 27 days that I lived in hiding, my family were put under great pressure. The families of my friends also were put under great pressure. Concerning my family, 3 of the members of my family were arrested. And for security reasons, I am not going to talk about what happened and the process of the thing and the developments.
At this time,
یکی از کسانی که بازداشت
One of the individuals who was arrested from among my family members had tried to commit suicide 3 times. That is the pressure he or she had to endure.
okay. Did you want to say anything else before I ask questions?
حرف
I have a lot to say, but I'm not able to say all of it here.
At this,
یه بخشیشو در سوال
I will try to explain part of it during the question and answer. Part of it is really so painful for me that I prefer not to talk about it. But I'm ready to respond to your questions. I knew a 70-year-old woman.
جهانی که
one second. If we could please ask the journalist to leave the room at this time. 1 second, Mr. Witness.
ممنونم. سپاسگزارم.